What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Before we go to Ben's interview, this is a deck list that he used to get top 4 at Indiana State. And as you see, it is a Lucario, Landorus, Hawlucha, Bats deck list. We see this deck a lot nowadays. And some interesting things to note is that it does play 2 Professor Birch, which you shuffle in your hand, and flip a coin. If heads, draw 7, and tails, draw 4. We haven't really seen this card a lot, but I think it's going to get really played in the next formats, which I know is next format stuff, but just, look out for that card. But he does play 2 in and 2 Professor Birch, so something's cool in his deck. And he does play a lot of 1-ups, too. He plays like 1 Enhanced Hammer, 1 Starling Megaphone, 1 Switch, stuff like that. For some reason, I can't scroll down. I don't know why, but he plays, as you see, 4 fighting, and this is 4 strong, which you see 8 energies total. Alright, can we scroll down now? Nope, still can't scroll down. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, like I said, 4 fighting and 4 fighting and 4 strong. Just play 1 trump card, which I really like a lot to get back your super scoop ups and stuff. And besides that, I think the deck's pretty much straightforward. It's cool to see this list because it does play the Karina and Colress. Usually most lists play like just Karina or just Colress, so it's kind of cool that it combines the two. But hopefully you enjoyed the interview. Thanks for watching. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another States question answer video with Ben. And where are you from, Ben?
I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay, so I assumed you played in Indiana this weekend.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so how'd you do in Swiss overall?
Swiss was actually kind of interesting. I started out 202 and then somehow managed to finish up 502. Had a real nail biter in round 7, but it turned out okay. Every round I thought progressively, this is getting better and better, and it did.
Now, what were the decks you played against?
I played against a pretty good variety, actually. The first deck I ran into... What was the first deck I ran into? You know what? I don't even remember the first deck I ran into.
That's okay.
There were notable games, though. One was against a Seismitoad Ninetales list that was pretty interesting. That was actually Dustin Zimmerman. That was round... I want to say 3. Round 3, I ran into Dustin Zimmerman. That was a pretty good game. I ran into a Flareon list.
Okay.
Sorry?
Now, against Dustin, did you tie or did you win? How did that work out?
That was actually a win for me. I got pretty fortunate on that. The deck, as you could probably tell, is not exactly equipped to normally handle Seismitoad, but what I did was, the morning of, I decided, you know what, let's throw a third Hawlucha in there, because normally I was only running 2.
Okay.
And I cannot even begin to describe how helpful that third Hawlucha was. So, there's that. Another matchup that was interesting, like I said, there was Flareon. My opponent just got horrible luck. Our first game, I won that match in 2 games. Our first game, he prized his Mr. Mime, which is bad against Landy Bats. And then the second game, I was able to take it out relatively quickly. So, again, got insanely lucky.
Okay, that's very nice.
I did one of my 2 draws was actually against Joel Howe, who ended up placing 2nd. We played again in top 8. We played in the semifinal. He's the one who actually knocked me out. And he was running a Kyogre list, which, as you can imagine, not a good matchup for Landy Bats. Not a good matchup at all. But I did manage to pull out a tie in that Swiss round. That was round 4.
Okay. So how did you end up beating him one of those rounds? I mean, yeah, one of those games, I guess.
I honestly am not sure.
Okay.
The cards fell properly. I got... The whole day, it seemed like Super Scoop Up was working well, which is really strange, because I don't get coin flips. Ever. Until Saturn.
That was your day, I guess.
It was. It really was.
Now, was there any more noticeable games to talk about, or not really?
Actually, yeah. As for round 7, it was,
okay.
I think this was against Sean Bernacki. He was running a Yveltal Toad. I think that was about it. And I sat down I'm really happy with the day. I'm 402 on the day. Even if I lose this round, I'm pretty happy, because honestly, that was a lot better than I ever expected to do in the first place.
Okay.
But I lose the first game of that series, which and that was fast. It was a fast loss, and it turned out that might have been helpful because the second game I was able to win just because Crobat, so helpful.
Yeah, true.
So, and then game 3 went to time, and I was able to put enough damage in play that I could knock out something, but I had to get a Lysander in order to do so. He had a Seismitoad active. What he did was, he had the double colorless on the Seismitoad. He could have knocked out my active Hawlucha. But he knew, he at the time was 5-1, so if he wins, he's in. Or if he ties, he's in.
Yeah.
But so what he did was, this is on turn 2, he attaches a Darkness Energy to the Seismitoad and retreats. It's got 40 HP left, and like I said, I've got a Hawlucha active. He could have knocked it out, but he decided to stall out because he knew that I had another Hawlucha on the bench. And that would have come up and knocked out the Seismitoad. And then, and this was a good play, he ends me to 2.
Okay, yeah.
The first card is Computer Search. Which, I about had a heart attack when I saw that. But, yeah, that was... And it turned out there was still one Lysander left in the deck, so... Got really, really lucky on that, because I did not have game in hand, if I remember correctly. So.
Okay. So he actually ended you to the winning hand?
Pretty much.
Oh, that's very nice.
It was completely irrelevant what I drew after that. It was getting discarded, unless it was a Lysander, in which case
you would just play it. Yeah, sure. All right. So what happened to top 8? Sorry.
Well, the round of 8 match, I actually get paired with a Plasma list. It was odd because I'd never seen a Plasma list that ran Seismitoad before, and the really odd thing was that I didn't actually find out that he was running Seismitoad in it until the second game. And this game is actually, a friend of mine, Ian Williams, actually recorded this, and it'll be on YouTube pretty soon.
Okay.
So you'll get to that. The game did go to best of 3, or it did go to game 3. And that was a really enjoyable game too. The really strange part was the entirety of game 2, I didn't drop a single Zubat. I don't know how that happened. I just, at no point in that game did I ever see a Zubat.
That's crazy.
It was really strange.
But,
so I won that matchup, and that actually also went to +3. But Crobat was what won it in +3 there. I stayed alive, on the other hand, with one insanely clutch Enhanced Hammer. A prized Deoxys on his part, which saved me numerous times. And the most clutch ever coin flip I've ever had, which was a Super Scoop Up that took a Lucario with 170 damage on it back into my hand. And if anybody is going to watch this video, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was flawless timing. It could not have been a better timed heads flip.
Just everything was going your way?
Pretty much.
Yeah?
Well, until
Top 4.
The semifinals when I get paired with Kyogre again. Because at that point, I was just like, well, all good things must come to an end. I knew I was going to lose that game.
Yeah. But, so in top 4, did you get 2-0'd, or did you actually win a game?
I did get 2-0'd. One of the games I actually prized both of my Versus Seeker. That was interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, it's...
Now,
I was, like I said, I was really, really happy with the weekend.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, top 4 is a really good job.
Best I've ever done at any tournament. Well, unless you count league challenges, but I'm best I've ever done at major tournaments.
Okay, well, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Now, when did you ever figure out a way, like, if I had this card in my deck and beat Kyogre or anything, or do you think the matchup is just unwinnable in general?
Well, honestly, I really don't think it's... I do think it's kind of unwinnable. It's just one of those decks you gotta sit down and say, well, yeah, I pretty much lost this matchup. There's a lot of situations where that's been the case. Like, I ran a Yveltal Hard Charm deck for a while, and I was always dreading that Pyroar matchup, for example.
That's true.
Which, I mean, not a lot of people have been running Pyroar lately, but I always seem to be the guy who runs into it. So,
It's there. Sometimes it's just randomly there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the old decks, I've actually done something different this year. I've decided to run what most people would call more competitive decks.
Okay.
In comparison to last year, my Nationals deck was Articuno Garbodor.
I've actually lost
was a
that
lot
deck.
of fun. It didn't go that great, but it was a lot of fun to run. People hated me for that.
Yeah, it's really annoying to get paralyzed and you're just sitting there with Garbage on the bench. You're like, what do I do?
I can't rush in. I can't use Verdant Wind. What do I do? that was always. And before that, my deck was Durant. So just that.
Yeah.
That was always fun.
Alright, well, I have some questions about your deck if you don't mind.
Not a problem.
Alright, so you played a 2/2 Birch in. Now, what was up with that?
Well, I got really, really sick of late game ends. Really sick of late game ends. Because with Landy Bats, you do tend to take prizes fairly quickly sometimes.
That's true.
And then slow down a little bit once it gets into later game. And I've said this many times, I do think Birch is going to be one of the best supporters in the next format, which I know is not terribly relevant right now, but one, I want to get into the habit of using it, and two, I like it better than Shauna for the consistency. I know coin flips and consistency don't really go in the same sentence, like, ever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wanted something I could rely on more than N late game. So that's just what I threw that in there for, and it turned out being a huge help considering the ridiculous coin flips I was getting this weekend.
Okay. Now, you talked about the hand stammer, but you only played one of them. Did you ever want, like, a second one, or was the one, like, just, it was that good?
Oddly enough, that's actually what I took out for the third Halucha.
Okay.
That was like I said, that was a last-minute call, and I didn't really need more than the one enhanced hammer most of the weekend. Could I have used it against, say, Plasma Lugia? Probably, but I ended up winning that matchup anyway, so I guess I'm not terribly worried by it.
Okay.
If I feel like I'm running into more things where I can use that, I may put the second one back in, but I anticipated a lot of Toad. That's why I put in the Halucha, and why I dropped the hammer, because frankly, it's not doing a whole lot of good once that item locks in play.
Now, how crucial was the card of Startling Megaphone? We see most of us don't even play them anymore.
Well, it wasn't absolutely vital at any point, I don't think. It was helpful against Flareon. I did run into Flareon, as I said earlier, once. It was helpful. It bought me a turn, I think, and that made a lot of difference in Game 2. As a whole, like I said, it wasn't vital, but I'm glad I ran it, generally. Okay. Maybe just the just in case.
Yeah.
Because Garbodor really, really hurts Landy Bats.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Now, you only played 8 energy, and I know like most lists are playing a little bit more than that. Did you want more energies, or was the 8 enough?
I think it worked. Could I go up 1 or 2? Yes. But there are some cards that I just don't want to drop from the list. I don't see myself needing energy that terribly often, and sometimes when I get energy, I've got like 3 strong energies in my hand along with Juniper, which is not fun. But I don't want to say it's a perfect line, because it's not. There's no such thing as a perfect energy line, in my opinion, in this deck.
That's true.
But it worked, I guess. So.
Okay. Now, we've been talking a lot about your list. Was there anything you want to change? Like, if you were to replay the whole tournament, was there anything you would change, or was the list, do you think, perfect for the day?
I think for the day it worked well. I don't think at any point did I really have a situation where I desperately needed cards that I didn't have an ability to get. But that's another part of just how the day went. I was getting a lot of the stuff I needed. Could I have done with a fighting stadium every now and again, just to get rid of a Verbank? Probably, but it wasn't really that big a deal. Like I said, it was a really lucky weekend. I got stuff I needed.
That's all it takes in Pokemon, just flipping heads.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, how many championship points are you at currently?
I am now sitting on 124.
Okay.
So Worlds qualification, not likely. Because, like I said, I've never placed anywhere near this high in a major tournament, and I don't anticipate it happening again in the near future. If it does,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. But
Now, you gonna go to any more states?
no, just Indiana. Because honestly, we took the trip down to St. Louis for regionals in the winter. It was a long and taxing trip.
Mm-hmm.
States, not really worth it, I don't think.
Okay. Are you gonna go?
And even regionals, I'm not 100% convinced I'll go back just because of how taxing it is of a weekend. That's why I'm really glad that Nationals is in Indianapolis, because we don't have to make a major trip for that.
Yeah.
Because it's 5 miles from where I live, so.
Yeah, it's really lucky.
It really is.
Okay. Now, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody or anything?
I definitely do. I'd love to give a shout out to all of my teammates at Team Victory Star. We've got a YouTube channel, which I know you'll be posting a link to. Austin, Adonis, Eric, Keegan, Vicky, Connor. God, I almost forgot Connor. Ian Williams also. He's not part of the team, but he's also the guy who recorded the top 8 matches at Indiana State. So, and he's got a pretty good channel. He's over there at General Ice, I think is the handle. And also everybody who plays at Comic Book University's Pokemon League. We have a Pokemon League down in Greenwood, Indiana, which is just south of Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And we were really proud. We had one player in every division top 8 at Indiana State, so we were really happy about that.
That's really good.
Blake, the league owner, was really happy with that. We all had a great weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, man. Well, thanks for doing this, and good luck at Nationals, since you're not going to go to any more regionals or anything.
Thank you.
Alrighty, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Alrighty, bye.